Hello, my name is Michael Kidani. It is a pleasure to be here today. I would like to present to you my pet peeve speech for Speech 101. I came home to my fiancée smelling like another woman's perfume. You are probably thinking exactly what my fiancée thought at the time. Let me explain. I went to Macy's looking for a watch for my brother. I was in the kneeling position because the watch that caught my attention happened to be on the lowest shelving. A couple behind me were trying out different perfumes. The perfume lady drops the bottle on the floor. I absorbed most of it like a sponge. At first, my beloved fiancée didn't know the entire story. She automatically thought of the worst like anybody else would. We live in a very superficial society. It is very easy to fall into the trap of looking only at the surface of people, things, and ideas, without taking the time and effort to delve deeper into them. This is where the adage, "Don't judge a book by its cover," comes from. Literally, you cannot tell the quality of the contents of a book by just looking at its material used to hold it together. A book with a plain cover and a simple title may be more important, more entertaining, or more useful than a book bound in a flashier manner. This metaphor can be extended to many situations in life. Perhaps the best example is the relationships between people. If you see a beautiful woman or man, would you immediately pursue them before an average-looking person? In many cases, a person looking for a significant other would. Unfortunately, the more average person may have a better sense of humor and a more interesting outlook on life. The prejudices of deciding what to be based solely on outward appearance could cost the pursuer the chance of a meaningful relationship. Another example would be the average homeless. We don't know who they were or who they are. We don't know where they came from. We don't know what happened to them to become what we assume them to be. Naturally, we jump straight to assumptions. We make conclusions. And then we decide. Naturally, our visual senses take control, opposed to our wisdom and understanding. We allow the fear of being robbed by them, the discomfort of potent smell from their body odor or bad breath, the visual ache that gives us a despicable feeling by just the sight of their dirty fingernails, the very thought that he or she is a bum because they didn't put their life in order by getting an education or simply working hard. And that is a result of them being homeless. Tell me, why is that? Why is that the first 30 seconds of meeting or seeing someone like that justifies who they are? There was once a tale of a wealthy man from Wales. He toured an impoverished country in the western parts of Africa, and this was back in the 1930s. See, the tour was supposed to take him about 7 days. However, on the second day, he went out strolling in the streets of the capital, and a bunch of thugs came They snatched his bag with all his belongings, his identification, his money, all his documents. He was unable to travel. Neither could he get back to his hotel, as no one trusted a foreigner who apparently had no documents or money. The tourists didn't believe how things had quickly turned out against him for the worst. His attempt to conduct with the authorities bore no fruit. On the contrary, he was arrested for loitering. 3 days later, he was released. He ended up sleeping on the streets. A concerned stranger listened to his story. He took him in with his family. He accommodated him for a week until he processed new documents. Yet, local banks were still reluctant to listen to his concerns. But 4 days later, some luck shone on the man when one manager took keen concern of the man's explanations. It's to see about his financial status. The manager called the Barclays branch in Wales, and a check valued at £1 million was sent along. In 5 days, that check cleared, and then it was cashed. The tourist immediately repaid the stranger for his kindness and gave him £100,000 as a token of his appreciation. You see, everyone who had seen and heard of the tourist and his experiences had initially thought that the latter was a pauper, a swindler, or a fugitive, not an unfortunate victim of insecurity and banking problems. This story goes back to that homeless woman or man. Are you still going to judge him or her based on what you see? The wealthiest people on the planet are not necessarily the prettiest. Also, the prettiest girls are often not the most spiritual. A pretty girl may, however, use her looks to deceive and trap a man into falling for her, with just the objective of fleecing him. The biblical story of Samson and Delilah are known only too well. The story portrays a situation where one beautiful woman uses her looks to manipulate a man into revealing his or her most profound and cherished secret. Samson falls for Delilah's lie, not because she was madly in love with him, but because he could not tell reality from appearance. Think about that. He judged the book by its cover. A big mistake indeed. It led to his downfall. If I may be bold to ask you, do I really need to spend 6 minutes to persuade you how to approach a fellow human being with humility? Or can your logic comprehend the moral of the story? Don't judge a book by its cover. It is difficult to change being so superficial. Our senses of vision is very, very strong. And it is easy to fall in the trap of believing the most beautiful, shiny, or flashiest object is inherently better. Only by maintaining strict self-discipline can we force ourselves to put these prejudices aside and look deeper into everything we do. Who knows? The more beautiful woman may turn out to be a better match for you. But you will never know if you always base your decisions on what looks the best. Only by looking at the less obvious futures can we know what is truly the most outstanding person, object, or idea. And only then we will know it with confidence and not with ignorance. Thank you.